wish to contribute.
I just want to speak very briefly in relation to this bill, and I note the Minister has said that it is a technical bill that, in relation to the outcome of Court of Appeal ruling in Permanent TSB versus Langan, and there is a lot of concern out amongst the public in relation to the implications of this particular bill. And while I note that the Land Conveyancing Law Reform Act 2013 gave the Circuit Court jurisdiction over repossession cases in relation to principal private residences, I think the detail of this case probably relates to what has been described as domestic premises, and the cases where people had buy-to-let mortgages and that were in default, where a lender is looking to repossess those actual buy-to-let premises. And the problem with that is that there is tenants in those buy-to-lets, and that is a really significant problem and a huge area of concern. I've no need to tell you, Minister, in relation to if these cases can move through quicker through the Circuit Court, leading to repossessions. The first thing that the bank looks for is vacant possession then for these properties, and we'll add to the crisis that we already have in terms of homelessness and the housing crisis right across the state. And I think that's something that needs to be really addressed, and perhaps I think this bill is the opportunity to address that. And I would ask the Minister that while this bill makes the jurisdiction, clears up the jurisdiction issues and maybe makes that process that bit easier on behalf of banks, we have to look at the families that are going to be affected by this and the tenants that are going to be affected, because if these repossessions go ahead quicker and it does lead to people being evicted from their properties, it's every bit as significant for somebody to lose a rental property and end up homeless as it is for people to lose their family home and end up homeless as a result of that. And I think that you should use the opportunity in the committee stage to actually look at developing some sort of amendments to maybe the Land Conveyancing Act or some of the acts to allow for the protection of tenants in relation to these properties as well. Surely it would be in the interests of the lender who gains possession of these properties to maintain the tenancy and to benefit from the rental that the tenants have been paying to previously to the landlord. And I think that should be in the interest of everybody across our society. And it is true, the government, noting the confidence and supply agreement between Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael as well, there is supposedly measures to be introduced to actually achieve that result in terms of protecting people in tenancies and protecting people and to be able to keep a roof above their heads. And that should be the aim of the government as well, to ensure that that can take place, rather than just facilitating the courts and making it easier for the owners of the loans to actually gain possession. So, Minister, I would ask you to address that in your summing up on this bill and outline to the House how exactly we can take steps to ensure that as a result of this bill being passed, that nobody is going to be made homeless and add to the list of homelessness and people sleeping in hostels and hotels that we have, which is a disgraceful situation that just continues and appears to get worse and worse. And at least we could do something positive in terms of this bill to actually prevent that happening in the future.